Hello, everyone, and welcome back to King's Advisors. Now, I know I'm a little late on this review, but I've been busier than I expected, so this unfortunately had to take a back seat. Now, before I talk about the new episode of Reacher, I want to talk about this quick article here on Deadline that after the first 3 episodes of Reacher season 2 came out on December 15th, it blew past everything that Amazon has premiered this year. It says right here that those 3 episodes surpassed the entire season 1 audience by 50% in just the first 3 days on the streamer. I mean, imagine getting your most popular show at the end of the year that not only is it the most popular show, but more people have watched this in 3 days than the entirety of your previous most popular show, which was that show's first season. I mean, that just blows my mind. I think this shows that this show resonates with an audience, and not because it's got incredible writing like Game of Thrones or these powerfully acted characters. It doesn't. At the end of the day, this is slightly better than a procedural drama. But that's the point of these books and this show. Reacher isn't supposed to be a Song of Ice and Fire. It's an airport novel. You buy it at the airport and you finish it on the plane. The reason this show has resonated so well with this audience is that it's not trying to be anything more than what it is. It's a good action flick. It's a good action TV show. It's not trying to slip the message in there. It's not trying to tell you why you're bad or why the American military is evil for doing something. It's just trying to be a good thing of TV. Now, before I switch over from the article to the episode, as we kind of go through the episode and talk about different scenes, I want to ask y'all, go ahead and comment below what your favorite scene so far has been. There's been several fight scenes, and I've enjoyed all the fight scenes. But I'd love to know what your favorite scene has been so far. So, obviously, I'm not going to play through the entire show. There's a couple of scenes that I'm going to hit and kind of talk about real quick. This episode definitely started off slower and was, in my opinion, the weaker of the other 3 episodes, but it finishes really well. The last 15 to 20 minutes are very good. So we've got this scene here where they're all at this diner, and we kind of learn a lot about every other character now. We know that David, the other guy, is kind of he's a bit of a PI, but he kind of does some shady stuff for against powerful people. Like, he knows where to press to keep them from doing stupid stuff. We kind of figure out what everyone's looking for. We're looking for this military operation called Little Wing. But this scene right here, it's a lot of exposition. But on top of this exposition is a flashback scene that we can see here. This scene, I think, has multiple purposes. One is it reintroduces us to this Colonel Fields, and I'm under the impression that Colonel Fields is supposed to be another character that kind of floats in and out of the books. There's a general that Reacher really respects that ends up needing his help in, I believe, the 3rd book. And I'm curious to find out if this guy is supposed to be like a younger version of that guy. I'm hoping that we'll see more about him. He does seem to be important because this is now like the 3rd time we've seen him. So if he wasn't important to the story or maybe the future story, it feels weird to have him in there so much. But the importance of this flashback is in the diner earlier, they kind of start talking about, is it possible that Swan, the guy that's missing, the guy that was working for the military contractor, is it possible that he is dirty? And they use this scene because they've just collected a bust of like 43 pounds or kilos of heroin. And they use this scene to show that maybe Swan's dirty, because they actually find out there's only 42, Reacher, Neagley, and Swan go to his car to check. Swan actually comes back with a missing kilo that apparently fell when they were delivering it. Everything seems kind of sketchy during all of this. It does kind of feel like they're trying to lay a foundation for Swan being not a good guy, but then it also kind of feels like it might be a double bluff. I'll definitely be curious to see how this part of the story progresses. And of course, AM, the terrorist guy, at the end of the previous episode, he was trying to get on a flight, but saw that the police were there waiting for him. So he sees this plastic surgeon that kind of looks like him. And of course, what does he do? Well, he kills him. Which this whole part of the storyline I'm really digging. He's really kind of a devious guy, and I'm really liking it. He right here he says, I'm just gonna go have a word with your secretary, and then we can see that she's dead as well. So there's sort of like a sociopathic tendency here. Now, there have been some complaints that this story is starting to give the two female characters, Carla Dixon and Neagley, like the better fights and the better missions in a way. And I really have to I really have to disagree. They end up going to this woman's house who was the person at the contractor that helped them earlier in the season, and she's missing, and they discover that she's actually left her go bag with just a buttload of money in it. And then we get back to AM where he gives this Chinese girl a really violent comic book. I'm not sure if I can get to the scene in here. Hang on. Yeah.
See, we've upgraded.
So if we look right here, let me turn the volume down so that there's no copyright shit. If we look right here, like this is a really violent comic book, and he's getting ready to give it to this little girl, which is interesting to say the least. But we move on from this and we get to the much more interesting part of the story where David and Reacher are sitting here and they're talking about what they're going to do. They're actually heading up to Boston to try to get this senator's aide to basically get in trouble so that they can force him to tell the truth about what's going on with this little wing thing. And then, of course, Neagley comes out looking very fine. She's dressed feminine. She looks hot. I mean, great job. We actually have an attractive female character here who isn't sitting there like androgynous and ugly. And then on top of that, of course, Carla Dixon comes out and they're talking about how to get payback. And she comes out looking even better. Her whole job is to hit on this senator's assistant so that he'll basically do something bad and they can get him to tell them the truth. And one of the things that I like about this episode, and this is really where it starts like picking up for me, there's 21 minutes left of this episode. We see in the very next scene, Reacher is the one that figures everything out. But on top of that, we see David here dealing with his son. His son calls him and he's like been fighting with his brother and he hit him. And we get to see kind of a fatherly moment from David being a good father, which, as we all know, we don't see enough of in cinema today. But far and away, probably my favorite part about this whole episode so far is they're trying to make it look like, he's doing cocaine and he gets caught. So she tells him, no, you go first. And so he does a line and immediately you see a badge. Who could that be? And it's Finley. I mean, what a great cameo. We knew from the end of the first season that he was moving back to Boston. Clearly, he's back to being a cop. And we actually find out that he ends up being a lieutenant. And so in this scene, David and Reacher show up, kind of pretending to be feds to find out what Little Wing is. And what Little Wing is it's a at this point, they really kind of figure out, oh my god, this is bad shit. Like this could be really bad. And so we get this really nice scene between Reacher and Finley. It's kind of like, seeing old friends. It's been 2 years since they've last seen each other. But then we get this fight. And one of the things that I like about this fight is there's all these complaints that Carla and Neagley are kind of being OP, like they're being allowed to do these fights in ways that don't make any sense. But in this fight, they're struggling with one or two enemies while Reacher and David take everyone else out. And one of the things that I really love is there's this point in the fight where, let me see if I can get there. I think it's right here. So I believe this is Carla. Yeah, so this is Carla fighting this guy, and this guy looks like he's really about to do it. He's really about to kill her. And what I thought was going to happen was I thought she was going to kind of yell for help, which I think I would have preferred, but what she ends up doing still really works because not only is she a good fighter, but she's also intelligent. And so we end up getting this. Grabs her shoe and puts it into his eyeball. Which I've got to say, if you've ever been stepped on by one of those. So the episode ends with Reacher taking one of the guy's phones and he makes a call and we see him calling Robert Patrick's character. Robert Patrick's basically kind of trying to make a deal. He's like, I'll let you do whatever I'll let you have whatever you want. What do you want most in this world? And it ends with a beautiful, absolutely beautiful line. Here we go. What is it that you want? I have the means to give you whatever you want. What is it that you want? And he says, in fact, I'm going to turn the volume up for this.
I want to throw you out of a helicopter.
Like, that's such a great ending to an episode. And of course, I'm pumped for the next episode. I think it's going to be incredible. I'm really enjoying this show, but it's not because it's this incredible writing. Like I said earlier, this show isn't awesome because it's Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings or Star Wars. It's awesome because it takes the concept of a simple story of revenge and puts it on screen without trying to cater to any loud minority or yelling at any quiet majority about why they're bad. I think that's why this show resonates with so many people. That's why so many people are watching this. As always, everyone, thank you so much for stopping by. Thanks for watching. This past month has been really great for the channel, and I hope y'all are enjoying Reacher as much as I am. I hope you've been enjoying the stuff that I've been putting out, and I can't wait for next year. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year. And I hope 2024 is even better for everybody. As always, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at King'sAdvisors_.